Hello you guys, I'm Fabio Hart. What I want to talk about in this video is just kind of getting through the application process. Okay, so you got employees or you're looking to hire employees and you got applications. Here's the deal, and this is the way I do it, so it might be able to work for you guys. Look guys, when I'm hiring employees, I'm not just looking for a body. So you heard me say typically, I don't do it this way no more because I'm a little bit bigger now, but typically I told you I will work 30 to 60 days in and then put a body in there. But I don't want just anybody. Okay, so there's a structure that I go through in my applications. So yes, I'm always accepting applications. I'm always bringing in applications. But when I sit down and I actually do the interviewing, which is rare, and I gotta be honest, on these videos, I don't do a whole hell of a lot of this stuff anymore because again, I got systems in place and people doing it for me. But there is a type of structure that I like to go by. I don't want just somebody, I try to get to know that person. Okay, I know that they're giving me their best presentation, right? I know for them it's like they need the job, they need to make some money. So I got a ear for them telling me what I want to hear. If that makes sense. Okay, so I know that people are going to come in on their best behavior. They're just going to tell me whatever. They want to get a job. Okay, but again, you have to set some type of criteria. You don't want somebody just coming in and then 30 days in, they're back out, right? So you need to fill that position again. I think the reason that I'm able to retain a lot of my people is because of this. Okay, now a lot of times the way I hire now is from the inside out. So somebody might have a family member, a relative. If that person is a good worker for me, 9 times out of 10, I might give their cousin or their auntie or whoever a chance to work for me because I'm thinking, okay, this person is a great person. Maybe their auntie, their cousin, whomever would probably be somebody like themselves. Okay, it's not always the case, but I'm more reluctant to giving the family member a try before I just completely hire a new body from the outside. Okay, so that's really how I get a lot of my new employees. But I use all type of platforms. We use Monster, you use Indeed, you use word of mouth, you do postcards, you use all sorts of ways to try to drive new applicants in. Okay, but again, you want it. I think a lot of times people ask the wrong questions in an interview. Okay, so therefore you don't necessarily get the real them. Okay, you want to know them as a person, what motivates them, what drives them. Okay, yes, it is about your job, but you want to give them scenarios. This is things that you guys should have ironed out before you even go into the interview. Okay, now you can do a pre-phone interview. I would suggest that you do that before you kind of drive out somewhere, you bring them to your office or you meet them, I don't know, at a library or whatever you're going to do the interview at. I would suggest that you do a pre-phone interview, so that would give you a little intel as if you even want to meet with them personally to do just your regular interview. Okay, again guys, but you have to find a structure that works for you. Now I can give you my structure all day every day, but that don't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. So what I want to kind of give you is a template, give you an outline on what you should do. Pre-phone interview number 1. Okay, so this is for people just starting out. You give them a pre-phone interview. If you like the information, you like how they come across the phone, then you set up a one-on-one interview. Now prior to going to that one-on-one interview, you have to know exactly what you need, what you're looking for in an applicant. That I can't tell you. It's your business. You know what you're looking for. Okay, so when you go in, I suggest that you have some type of script, some type of outline, some type of structure in terms of your questions. Again, get to know them as much as possible. What motivates them? What drives them? Why did they decide to submit an application on Indeed or on online or however they did it? Why did they send the resume in? Okay, you want to get to know as much about them as possible. Then you want to give them, certain examples of situations that could possibly happen in your company and see how they will handle that situation. Okay, you tell them there's no right or wrong answer. You just want to see how they're going to handle it. Now, if you do that and let's say they say something and he's like, okay, that's the way that I would handle it, or that's kind of the way, then you can take that into consideration when you go home and you go through all these applications. Never promise anybody a job also, okay? Never promise anybody a job. You always let them know, even if you don't, you let them know, hey, I have other applicants to interview. I'll give you a call within the week, okay? Or in about a week, or whatever the case is, right? This way you can kind of, again, get through your applications. Now, some applications you can kind of tell right off the rip that, hey, this is not going to work. This person isn't going to work, just based off the tone of the application, what they put on the application. I tend to like to go for people that's already worked for commercial cleaning contract or commercial cleaning companies. Okay, whether it is a franchise company that they work for, or whether it's just another independent company that they work for. I tend to like that because on the application there are several lines where I have them put different companies that they work for, and then my company until we go after those companies. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of contracts that way. Where, you know, somebody that say they work for ABC Janitorial, they no longer work for them. You ask them what happened, why did they quit, why did they get fired, all of these different questions. You want to try to get it, like I say, as much intel as possible. Okay, so once you get past that, then you want to ask them, well, what type of contracts did you work at? Was it churches? Was it chiropractors? Was it banks, car dealerships? What type of contracts? Plants, industrial buildings, office park buildings. Did you work for property management? Did you do home clean outs? Did you do apartment cleanings? Like, what type of contracts did you work for? And you have them put down on the line on your application or on a side piece of paper somewhere. You have them list the type of contracts that they worked at and those names and those companies' numbers. Okay, they put that down, and then if you're anything like me, again, it's no right or wrong way to run this business. You don't know where your next contract is going to come from. But then I in turn go ahead and solicit. A lot of times they'll tell you, and this is great information. I ask this all the time. You get as much intel about the previous company as possible. Well, what happened at that contract? Well, why did you get fired from there? A lot of times they're going to blame it on the supervisor or the company. Say, okay, well, if you could turn things around, if they was to have you come back, would you go back? Why or why not? Right? So these are little questions. Again, guys, you'll learn this stuff over time, but until you actually get out and you start doing interviews and doing them consistently on a consistent basis, a lot of this stuff you would never learn. You would never get the chance to do because you're not doing it. So as you do more and more interviews, you're going to get a lot better at doing the interviews. But again, you have to shuffle through the applications and through the applicants, okay? Because like I say, once those applications come in, a lot of people would suspect that you're small in many cases, right? Kind of just depending on how you come off, okay? But again, you want to get as much about that person and you want to get as much about the previous company as possible, okay? If they say, well, the company is messing up over here because they're not doing this, they're not doing that, you want to kind of make a small note of what they said, okay? If they say, well, I got fired because my daughter got sick and they wouldn't let me off and I just didn't show up, so I got fired. You say, well, was that the first time that happened? They say, well, yes. You say, well, was there any other things in place? Like, did you have any other absentees or other points where you kind of walked off or other points? You want to get as much information as possible. This would kind of give you some type of idea on how this person thinks, how this person moves. And then you also want to ask them, how would they improve that situation, or how would they handle that situation had it happen again? So if you work for me and your daughter gets sick, do you have anything in place where you won't have to be off work, but you can still get your daughter the help that she needs? Or would you have to take off? How often does this happen? Are you a person that call off a lot? Are you a fast learner? Do you learn fast? Right? So again, a lot of these questions will help you early on. Now, once you start doing this more and more, you will be able to decipher, okay, this person is lying, or I think this person is truthful. You also want to ask about background checks. You say, hey, I'm going to tell you off the rip right now, my company, we're going to do a background check on you. Is there anything that we should know about your background that would hinder you from working with us? Okay, this is the type of questions that I tell my people to ask, or have my people to ask, okay? You let them know, because they got to know that you're going to do a background check, okay? Same thing with if you're checking for drug screening or doing drug testing. Okay, you let them know, hey, we're gonna do a drug test. Is there anything in your system that will possibly hinder you from working, with our company? And you have to tell them, just be upfront and be honest, because you may hire them if they tell the truth, right? But if they lie to you, you might say, well, I can't even trust you at telling me about yourself and what you did and what you didn't do. So how could I trust you working for me? How could I trust you in these people buildings, right? So again, guys, do more and more interviews. When I say always be hiring, that's just not just saying, just to collect applications. You want to interview people. This is things that I've done in the past and that we currently do now. Again, like I say, I kind of take myself out of the equation because I got people doing this stuff for me. But it's a certain guideline that you want to go by. Two things that cause you to lose contracts. Not keeping up on what you're supposed to do in terms of the workload, what you're supposed to be doing in the building, and a bad employee. Okay, so if you messing up and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in these buildings, they're gonna fire you. Or if you got a bad employee, they no show, no call, all of these different things. They always got an excuse. The car always break down. Things is always going wrong with them. Again, that can hinder you from becoming very successful in this business. Okay, now I'm not trying to scare you, but I do want to be upfront and honest with you that employees play an intricate part in your business. Okay, in your commercial cleaning and residential cleaning business. Okay, this goes the same way for residential business too, guys. Again, you want to ask them, have you worked for a molly maid or whoever? Have you worked for a maid service before? Right? Well, what was your experience with this company? What type of clients did they have? What would you approximate the homeowner's annual income to be? Was it more well off? Was it middle income? Was it low income? Right? What type of clients did you clean? What type of residential homeowners did you clean? Right? You will want to ask these type of questions again if you're hiring for people to do residential cleaning for your company. Okay, guys, hopefully this video was helpful. If you like the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. Also, if you have any questions and you don't want to leave it on the comment, you'd rather email me at Hollywoodjanitorialserv@gmail.com, Hollywoodjanitorialserv@gmail.com, and that's going to wrap it up. I'm Fabio Hart. The only person that could ever stop you from starting up your own dreams and making it to the top is you. Take care.